alaikum and welcome back to my channel, everyone, LY family. Ramadan Kareem to everybody. It's finally the holy month of Ramadan, and I just want to talk about all our single mamas that are out there doing it all by ourselves. Now, Ramadan is usually a month we always look forward to and we're always excited for. It is also a month that we love to spend with our family, and we love to do things together, and we love to pray together and eat together and do all of these things together. But unfortunately for us single mamas, we're the only adult in the house and we're doing it all alone. Unfortunately, after speaking to some mamas, I realized that a lot of us are feeling really sad and down and depressed, and that made me really sad to hear. Unfortunately, this is something that a lot of women are going through, and some of them do not have any family, and some of them it's just them. Maybe they don't have friends with kids, or they don't have friends that are Muslim or in a similar situation. So they're going through their fasting alone, and they're breaking their fast alone, and they're doing everything alone. They're praying and eating alone, and they're trying to go through all of the emotions of being lonely, but trying to appreciate Ramadan. And to me, this is truly heartbreaking, because I feel like in the first few days of Ramadan, I threw myself into my deen, and I threw myself into trying to prepare for Ramadan and trying to make it fun for my child, despite her very young age, just trying to make it so that she can look back one day and I can tell her we've always done things this way, and this is, inshallah, the traditions we will continue to do. So I tried to throw myself into all of that myself. The loneliness definitely creeps up on you. I wasn't expecting to feel this way myself. Even though I was hearing a lot of mamas were feeling this way, I didn't feel it at the beginning, even though we're only 6 days in, because I threw myself into everything. I think deep down it really wasn't for what I thought it was. I thought I was doing this to make traditions for my child, and I thought I was doing this for her, but I feel like deep down all of these things were just to cover the loneliness I was feeling. And I just came to a realization that I'm not alone. I have Allah with me, and I have my incredible daughter, alhamdulillah. What more can I ask for? I know that there are so many people that don't have a roof over their heads, that don't have food to eat, that don't have clothes on their back, and don't have anything. So why am I being so ungrateful because I'm alone, or I'm the only adult in this house? I know that it's such a struggle. It's not something easy, and loneliness plays a big factor in your mental health. But alhamdulillah for everything that we do have. I'm not downplaying anyone that feels lonely or feels sad or feels depressed at all. Their feelings are valid and my feelings are valid, but I just try to look at things from a different angle, because as I always say, it was the qadr of Allah, and Allah is the best of planners. If this is what Allah intended for me, how dare I feel upset about this? How dare I feel like I should not be alone, I should have this person, or I should have a husband with me, or I should have someone here, when this was qadr of Allah. This month was given to us to concentrate on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this month was given to us to concentrate on raising our children and teaching them the best way we can. If I was still married, I wouldn't be so much concentrating on all of these things. More so, I would be concentrating on making these big meals, or trying my best to please my husband, or trying my best to just make it a family and a traditional Ramadan. But that's not what Ramadan is about. It's not about the food, and it's not about putting on a big feast, and it's not about any of that. It's really about worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and helping others and teaching our children the same values. And inshallah our children will grow up and they will understand that despite us being alone when they were younger, or maybe some children are already of primary school age or older, despite us mamas doing it alone, they will look back and say, my mommy did it alone, but they taught me the right things, and I would rather teach my daughter the right way than be so preoccupied with everything else as cooking, cleaning, being stressed, than not teach her and she won't know a single thing about Ramadan, and all she will think is Ramadan is we fast and we eat, we fast and we eat, and that is not what this month is about. And for all the lonely mamas out there, reach out to somebody, in your community, reach out to other mamas, reach out to some of the sisters. Inshallah, there will be somebody that maybe you can meet with and have iftar with, or maybe you can meet with and be long life friends with. Inshallah, you can meet somebody and not feel alone. I met a sister the other day and we went out for iftar together, and it was such a lovely experience because I'm alone and she's alone, and obviously we have our children, but it's so different when you don't have another adult. So if you're able to do that, reach out to other ladies, reach out to other sisters, and I'm sure somebody will either welcome you into their home, or maybe you can meet outside. But I think if you're not the one feeling lonely, then maybe reach out to other ladies, and you never know what people are going through. So if you can help, or you can just check in on your other mama friends and your other Muslim sisters, just check in on them, because it is very hard for us single moms this month. And I think people really do underestimate that we're doing everything alone, and on top of that you're trying to fast and you're trying to do your ibadah and you're trying to pray and you're trying to do everything else on top of just being a full-time mom by yourself. So I decided to do an advent calendar for my daughter this year for Ramadan. So I ordered one online and I just filled in the little boxes myself. So rather than having the typical chocolates inside or the little toys or having money inside or things like that, I decided to do notes for either something we can do each day, or maybe sometimes she might get a toy, or an outing like the park or the zoo or soft play. But also I decided to put in sadaqah for every single week of Ramadan. So we must never forget to give back. Of course, this is something we should implement throughout our lives during the whole entire year, but especially in Ramadan we need to remember the less fortunate. So we decided to give help to mamas for their little children, and the things we helped give away were some clothes for children and some toys, and some of them were pre-loved and some of them were new. And we also did help somebody with their food shopping, and inshallah the last week would be giving somebody that's homeless maybe a couple of nights somewhere to stay. So just paying for them to stay somewhere for a couple of nights so they're warm and not in the cold or the rain. Inshallah, this is something that I want to implement into my daughter's life. I want her to remember and to look back and think that this is not something I did when I grew up. This is something that I've always done. This is something that since I was a baby, me and my mommy did. And I want her to look back and remember, and I want her to look forward to Ramadan each month, and look forward to not only the month of Ramadan, but look forward to helping more people. And inshallah, this will be something she implements in her life in the future. It makes me so happy to know that I can look back in a few years and I can tell my daughter, look, you were just a baby, but this is what we did for other people. You know, maybe she doesn't really understand right now. She doesn't understand that some of her toys have been given away, but that's okay. And there's always people that are less fortunate than us. And I think even if that comes down to buying a 30p bottle of water for somebody, that's somebody in need. And I feel like we should always do it. Everybody's situation is different, and how much you can help or give away is different for every single person. But the feeling of helping others, especially during this month, alhamdulillah, it just made me so grateful for everything that we have. And some of the mummies that we helped, my heart just broke for them and their stories. And if I could honestly help them throughout the whole year, I would. But alhamdulillah for everything that we have. I think that the main thing that I got from all of this was to be more and more grateful with each day that comes. The fact that we are waking up, alhamdulillah. The fact that we are healthy, alhamdulillah. The fact that we have a roof over our head, alhamdulillah. The fact that we have food on the table, alhamdulillah. And on and on and on. We should be grateful for every little thing. And I think this is something that sort of came to me when I realized, oh, I'm very lonely and I'm doing this all alone. And it was almost like a little voice in my ear telling me, you're not alone. You have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And look around you. Look at all of these things that you have. Look at I'm not talking about possessions or anything like that. I'm talking about having friends and having family and having something to eat and something to drink and clothes on my back and my daughter's back, and all of these things that we need to be grateful for. I feel like sometimes because of the way we're feeling and we feel a bit sorry for ourselves and all of that, we do forget to say Alhamdulillah for all of these things. I'm so grateful for everything that I have, Alhamdulillah. I don't think I could say it enough. Never forget that Allah has a plan, and Allah has given you this trial for a reason. This is all part of this dunya. This is all part of the test that we have to go through. So don't you worry, mamas. It's all going to be okay, inshallah. All the single mamas out there that are feeling lonely this month, please reach out to me. You can reach out via Instagram and you can just send me a quick message. If you just need someone to confide in, I'm happy to be the shoulder to cry on or just someone to listen to you. Please do not ever feel like you have no one to speak to or that you are always alone, because there's always Allah by your sides, and there is a community of us out there. There is so many single mamas that are here and that are just trying to reach out and find other single mamas that they can relate to that are going through the same things. So just reach out. Don't ever let yourself feel alone or isolate yourself, because that would just make your situation so much worse. I know that there's so many mamas out there that are really struggling this month, and they're struggling just to keep a handle of things, whether they're a full-time mom or they're working and then coming home to their children. I know that it's really, really hard. I know a lot of you feel really guilty that maybe you're not focusing on your ibadah as much, but please, please, please try and remember that looking after your children is ibadah, and everything that you're doing for your child is part of it. So please don't feel guilty, because Allah can see, and Allah is the one who put you on this path. And do you think that Allah will punish you for something that He chose for you? This path was chosen for you, and Allah can clearly see in your heart that you're trying your best, and you're trying your best to raise your children, but also to be a good Muslim. So don't worry, don't feel guilty, and it's completely normal to feel that way. But try not to put yourself down, sister, because I'm sure you're doing an amazing job at being a mama, and maybe you're working or you're not working, but either way, you're probably doing fantastic. This is all part of this dunya, and this is all part of the test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't worry, these hard times will pass. It's not going to be like this forever. Our children will grow up, inshallah, and we will look back and remember how we were and how we were struggling and how we felt, and just look back and think, Alhamdulillah, that I got through that. It is very hard in the moment, but please don't let it take a toll on yourself, on your mental health. Just remember that you're doing the best you can, and that's the most important thing. Your children, whether they are of age to understand or not, they will one day understand, and they will always say that they knew their mama tried her best, and that is the most important thing you can do. Never feel guilty for looking after your children or trying to provide for your children during the month of Ramadan, because this is something that we have to do. We have to look after our children and we have to provide for them. So you can't feel guilty for any of that, and you can't feel guilty for maybe not reading as much Quran as you wanted to, because you have to work full time and then you have to come home to children. Allah can see what's in your heart, and Allah can see that you're trying your hardest. As much as you can get in is good, but don't be too hard on yourself, mama, because I'm 100% sure you're doing everything right. On that note, it's way past this mama's bedtime and inshallah we all have a good Ramadan, and inshallah we all lose the feeling of feeling lonely, and we can find somebody to reach out to, somebody in our community, or maybe just somebody that's over the internet that you can just chat to. Again, for anybody that's feeling alone or isolated, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to speak to you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Ramadan, and I look forward to cherishing every second with my daughter. Good night.